I bullied the wrong girl. Hi, my name's Sarah. I don't know about you, but I love school. I get straight A's, and I guess I'm kind of pretty because so many people tell me that, and loads of the older boys in school want to take me to their prom. I'd say I'm the most popular girl in school, which is awesome because then I can just order the other kids around. They all want to be my friend, so they'll do anything for me. Every morning, this little dork called Charlie brings me an iced coffee from Starbucks. I think he thinks I'll go on a date with him or something. I mean, yeah, right. But hey, at least I get a free coffee out of it. And then there's Sally. She used to be my friend in primary school, but she's just such a nerd now. I don't even know how I was ever friends with her. She's always reading, and she's never even had a boyfriend. Sometimes she still tries to speak to me, and I'm like, ew, do I know you? She actually started crying last week when I told her to leave me alone. What a loser. There's also this other girl, Sophie, I just can't stand. She's the only one who gets better grades than me. Always A+, and it drives me crazy. How dare she do better than me? She never ever puts her hand up, but the teachers all seem to love her regardless. In math class last week, the teacher asked a super hard question, and I knew the answers straight away, so I raised my hand. After I'd given my answer, before the teacher could even respond, this smarty pants Sophie girl turned to me and said, "Sorry, but that's not the correct answer." The correct answer is, yeah, blah blah blah. I couldn't believe she'd embarrassed me like that in front of the whole class. She'd pay for this. After school, I waited around and decided to give her a little scare, just, to put her in her place. I started following her home and decided I'd jump out at the right moment and give her a piece of my mind, once and for all. I managed to get ahead of her and hide behind a tree. I was all set to jump out and show her who's boss, when suddenly she disappeared. Where had she gone? Then I realized this was the tree outside her house. She was standing on the step outside her door. Why wasn't she going inside? All of a sudden, the door opened and her dad grabbed her and she went flying inside. I heard her cry out. I didn't know what to do. Even from behind the tree, I could hear him screaming at her, saying she needed to walk home faster if she ever wanted to get into an Ivy League college. I could hear her crying. I don't know what came over me, but suddenly, I felt so bad. What was I doing? This poor girl was under so much pressure. No wonder she always got A+. She had no choice. I went home that night feeling like the worst person on the planet. I was nothing but a bully. I was no better than Sophie's dad. I needed to change. The next day at school, I waited by her locker and apologized to her for the way I acted when she corrected me in class. She just nodded and walked away. I noticed she always sat alone at lunch, so that day I went to sit next to her. She shrunk away when I approached her, and I realized she was afraid of me. In that moment, I felt horrible. Why had I been treating people so badly? Especially Sophie, who had this horrid home life. I sat down opposite her and smiled. I introduced myself and made some small talk. The next day, I brought in some cake my mum had baked and shared it with her. Slowly but surely, we became friends, and one day I plucked up the courage to ask her about the bruise on her wrist. She broke down into tears. I hugged her and said it's okay, we can sort it out together. I took her to the school counselor and waited outside while she told him everything that had been happening at home. She started going there once a week for counseling sessions, and eventually, the counselor called her parents in to discuss what was going on. I was there for Sophie the whole way through it all. And by the end of term, we were best friends. I still feel terrible that I judged her before I even got to know her. I had no idea the demons she was facing at home. In fact, after that day that I followed Sophie home, I've never picked on anyone ever again. I bought Charlie a coffee and decided to go on a date with him. It wasn't right for me to judge him on how he looked. We actually got on so well and had such a fun evening, and now he often hangs out with me and Sophie. And even Sally too. We made up and I couldn't be happier to have her back in my life. The thing is, no one deserves to be bullied because you never really know someone's story until you get to know them. So be kind. What do you think of this story? Feel free to share your comments and stories in the comments section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.